Everybody, I'm Fire Lotus, and welcome back to another live witches chat. Go ahead and hit that bell icon so you get all the notifications when I go live and/or post videos. Um, I've been doing these for about 3 to 4 years. Wow, I cannot believe it's been that long. But yeah, on these lives we go over basically anything and everything regarding witchcraft, spirituality, paranormal. Specifically today, we're going to be talking about some paranormal things. Um, so yeah, good morning, everybody. So I did want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, you still have time to enter in the community honey jar. You can email me, firelotusthewitch@gmail.com. If you're not the community honey jar, the community candle. Now, I actually will be running a community honey jar this month. Actually, I'll be posting a video on it today, and that'll run all the way until the 15th and 16th, which is the full moon. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, I know. Did I go live? No, I haven't. Friday I had a really fun, interesting day, and then yesterday was a very fun, interesting day. Friday I went into town with my partner and kind of followed him around at work. It was very interesting. Also found dead things, so that's great. Also, I am getting more organized on this. Here recently, I will not be going live on YouTube every day. I'm gonna start breaking them down to where, yeah, I'm working on a schedule, getting everything actually organized. Now this week on the 5th, I will not be going live, or I may go live or I may do videos. I have something to do later on that night. So yeah, also if you haven't already, go ahead and join our Discord. I did want to throw this out there. Discord is specifically primarily 18 plus. There is one location for like 16 plus, but other than that, not really that much younger, because there are things involving witchcraft that should just not be. Yeah. So there we go. Link in bio. Link in bio. Anyways, so yeah, okay. Today we're gonna be talking about paranormal. Specifically, I stitched a video and it kind of opened up a gateway to have a conversation. Specifically, we'll say the Annabelle doll. So I'm pretty sure everybody knows of the story of the Annabelle doll. It eventually spawned the movies. My biggest problem with this, if it's okay, I'm not watching you. I'm watching the Johnny Depp trial. Oh no, you're good. You're good. You're good. Um, but yeah, so a lot of people believe that the Annabelle doll is possessed by this demon and negative spirit, and they keep it in a box, all this shit, right? Here's the problem with that. If you actually investigate the Lorraine and Edwin and Lorraine, their cases versus the actual people that experience the stuff, there's a lot of discrepancies with this, but now, though, okay, so fast forward to now, what we know is the Annabelle doll. I do not believe it's possessed by a spirit in any way, shape, or form. I believe that through the stories, the movies, and all the fear around it, basically we created an egregore. And I believe that's a lot for a couple of other haunted dolls as well. They may have been haunted at one point in time, but imagine if you like possess a doll, right? And then you get locked behind a box. Are you really just gonna stay locked behind the box? I'm not. I'm just gonna leave. So, but it's still supposedly people have a reaction to it. That could be a psychological, or like I said before, it could be an egregore. And when I did this video, somebody mentioned that that's also what happens to a lot of haunted house cases. Um, Now this does get complicated, because do I believe an egregore would be able to physically leave marks on you? No. But our bodies are a very crazy thing, as in we can placebo affect it to the point where our bodies actually present the three markings. My other question is, why is it always three? It's between 3 to 4 markings, and I don't understand it. Sworn they took the doll out recently. They did. That's actually what I stitched the video of. They removed it for some reason. And everybody in the comments were like, no, don't. And I'm like, why? Like, I mean, but anyways, a lot of the times what can wind up happening. Now, before I say this, am I discrediting ghosts and hauntings and everything like that? No, but there's a lot that needs to go into actually fully declaring it a haunting versus you have a spirit, or versus What I'm about to say, which is psychokinetic buildup. What is psychokinetic energy? Everything gives off psychokinetic energy. But the crazy thing is with humans specifically, um, when you hear the term poltergeist, if you actually know how a real poltergeist is formed, it's very interesting. Specifically, it is kids coming into basically puberty. The reason that is because our chemicals are completely out of whack and they're trying to balance out, right? We get pimples, all of that. In the process of that, if you have somebody who is extremely gifted, or even somebody who has it in their blood, if you will, and depending on the environment that they're living around, that unbalance can also basically project that psychokinetic energy. And what winds up happening is it almost splits away from the person, and it in itself becomes slightly aware. Normally, you get voices, disembodied voices, you get things moving, specifically things being stacked on one another, and it being centralized. But that's actually what creates a poltergeist with most cases. Now, the most haunted property I've ever lived on, and I've lived on multiple different types of haunted properties, was here in Florida. I thought it was a spirit. The problem is most spirits or most hauntings can be filed into certain categories. You have the non-human one, you have the human one, you have the residual one, the non-residual one. And then you have what most people would consider demonic or more malevolent spirits, right? And there are two different types of spirits, as in there are things out there that were never really human. And then you have the human and all of that. But with this particular property, we had a little bit of everything. We heard random shit in the woods, like chains rattling. There's no chains out there. We saw people. We saw physical orbs, like giant, big ass orbs. We had snarls. We had growls. There was multiple other cases of people also experiencing other shit. Um, but after or in the process of us moving, we had somebody come out there who was very experienced. And they are like, I don't necessarily think it's a haunting. I think it's a buildup of psychokinetic energy. And over time, say the course of 15 years, 10, 15 years, a lot of bad dramatic shit happened on that property. So it basically kind of manifested this own little thing. Well, on top of that, there are also native spirits on the land as well. So when you get a mix of those, and if you do not know, when it comes to Native American spirits, that shit's on a whole new level. They have their own little rule book versus what we do. Um, but what winds up happening as well is it almost turns into an egregore as well, as in when you start to hyper fixate on it or hyper focus on it, it tends to get worse. Why? You're giving it more energy. And what do I mean by this? Perfect example of what we mean by setting your intentions. When we mean doing the research, you are physically exerting energy by having to read and use your brain. So you're also setting your intention by trying to figure out what spell you're going to do. That is the reason that we say research is almost everything when it comes to witchcraft. It's because it's another way that you are giving what you're trying to eventually create into a spell. You're giving it energy. You're setting the intention. Your intention is to research and to figure out and to calculate that spell. That in itself is half the part of that entire spell and magic. The same thing is with ghosts and other things. A lot of the times, instead of an actual house or a property being haunted, it's actually an object or psychokinetic energy and or something that was summoned and or, well, you kind of attached to you. Now, the thing that I'm still working on is how do I walk somebody through the proper, safest ways of figuring out what type of energy is on your property without necessarily pissing it off. Here's some things you don't want to do right off the bat, just in case it could be a negative spirit and or just in case it's something that you cannot handle on your own. Do not call the church. Do not start throwing holy water. Do not start reading prayers out of the Bible. I mean, if you totally want to, or you feel called to, or you're a folk practitioner, by all means, do it. Just know that if you pick up that Bible, you have to have belief in the words that you are writing down. That's almost how spells work as well. You have to have the belief and stand strong behind that. If not, you're just throwing out words. For one, not every spirit hates the Bible. Just throwing that out there. Not every negative spirit you find will react to the Bible. Um, yes and no, actually, now that I think about that, because it's just like the pentagram. It has power behind that symbol, just like the book does, just because there are so many people that have put power into it. But it could very well piss it off. Do not necessarily go burning sage, or any other cleansing herb, depending on how you run things, and depending on if you're used to spiritual activity. Um, do not use a Ouija board. For fuck's sake, do not just go out and get a Ouija board. Don't. Try a pendulum in a bottle, right? It's not really, you're not really touching it. It needs to be on a sturdy place. If you live in a trailer like me, normally vibrations carry very, very well, so try to do it possibly on the property, or somewhere very, very sturdy. You could also use just your phone recording to see if you get any EVPs. There are ways that you can connect with or talk to spirit without opening up your body and or vessel. Do not pull a Zach Baggins and go in there cussing it out and saying all this other shit. Now, if you want to tell it to leave, you totally can, but do not invoke a spirit that doesn't need invoking. Trust me, personal experience, my partner used to do that shit, and we learned very well not to. Show authoritating, like be the authoritating figure, but at the same time, don't like cuss it and cuss like a sailor at it. I got many EVPs off my phone's camera. Same, I've gotten them. Now, there are a couple of ghost apps on there. They're interesting. I wouldn't invest money in them, but they're interesting. Like I said, easily use your phone, download a recorder. That's all you need. And normally that goes very well. You will need headphones though. It's better to have headphones. And when you do this, another cool experience you can do, if you have an EVP, instead of going around telling people what you hear, ask them what they hear and write that response down. Why am I saying this? It's suggestive. If you've realized, if you go back and watch like any type of ghost show, when they capture an EVP, I like the episodes of where they say, here, listen to this and you tell me what you think, before they put the word on the screen of what they actually heard. The reason that is because of how our brains work. Also, there's a really good TikTok that I'm going to try to download and fucking carry over to here. There's this There's this creator on there, Piper, who does folklore and things, and they explained today why they believe dogs and cats and children can see spirits versus us so easily. And it's the exact same thing that I've said when deities or spirit guides send you a message. They're not going to be able to send you a message that your brain is not going to be able to break down. It's the exact same thing with spirits. When we see something that our brains do not understand, it tries to formulate what we're seeing to figure out what it is. So also take that into account. But yeah, when you watch something like that and they put like the word that they've already heard up there, your brain is almost always going to hear what you just read. Funny I ask you about reaching to my house past owner. I just got a piece of mail today with her name on it. Oh, that is awesome and coincidental. I love it. I love it. But yeah, there are safe ways that you can go. I don't like saying ghost investigations, but kind of interviewing ghost, if you will. There are plenty of ways of doing it safe, but just know if you use something like a dowsing rod, you're still opening your body up. And if you grew up like I did watching A Haunting, I love the original series that they did. Obviously, I did learn through some deep diving online, and a lot of forums, that some of those stories were just like most other Hollywood things. They were kind of elevated, but they were also kind of close towards it. Except for the ones on witchcraft. That used to piss me off all the fucking time. Why is it when a paranormal investigating show shows a witch, why is it 9 times out of 10 it's some evil witch that tried summoning some demon or some bullshit like that? That drives me fucking crazy. Not all witches are out there summoning demons. But anyways, dowsing rods, though, they can be very effective, but still know that you are trying to kind of opening your body up to it, depending on what kind of spirit you're dealing with. If you go to a graveyard, if you go somewhere haunted, always do some type of cleansing before you get in your vehicle or before you leave that property. And you tell the spirits that they are not welcomed with you. They need to stay the fuck there. And you need to do this, like I said, before you get in your car. And then after you get in your car, before you go anywhere near your house, if you can, stop again and cleanse your fucking car and do the same thing. I know this sounds very weird, but it's precautions that need to be took. They have to appeal the masses in some ways. All about the views. I know, and it's even like that on TikTok. Like, really quick side rant. I saw a video yesterday, and it infuriated me so much. I understand that technological and magic is slightly new. It's extremely new to me. But spells do not work like the video that I saw. They were doing a money spell, as in, as the recording had finished, the spell was also already started, right? Take that in mind. They're like, the more you do on this video, the more stronger the connection between this spell, this prosperity spell, and you will become. That's not how magic works in any way, shape, or fucking form. And if you see videos like that, they're just doing it for views, clout, and follows. That's not how magic works in any way, shape, or form. But anyways, with spirits and shit like that, you need to set boundaries. And obviously, if you're gonna go to a haunted location, don't go trying to like capture. Like, there are types of magic to where you can contain and conceal a spirit. Oh, got something in my in something like, say, specifically a quartz crystal. But unless you're experiencing it, don't try it, because if not, and if you do it wrong, you could also get like almost in a permanent attachment to where it would basically take an exorcism, but not as in like you're flailing and puking and shit like that. As in, it would take multiple different types of cleansings and like disconnects to be able to fully purge that from your side, or your energy, if you will. But now, with that being said, what happens if you do bring home a spirit? Not all spirits are going to fucking throw shit and like basically make your life a living hell. Some, primarily, honestly, they're just lonely. Especially, and in general, if you have an ability to sense spirit, when you go to said haunted location, they will know. I'm telling you now, you were like a flickering light in, I'm not going to say darkness, but you understand what I mean. You stand out more than just like the average Joe walking down the road. They will know this, and they will be attracted to you. Why do you think, like, when you were younger, the imaginary friends or medium psychics, I don't know what to call them these days, but that they attract spirits to them. I'm pretty sure my partner's one, without fully stepping into that. Although, story time, it involves paranormal and ghosts. We really are. We're like lighthouses. By the way, that also intacts when doing rituals outside. Other things will see you and get very curious. So just know that. But what I mean by that, if you're working with a deity, yes, it could be a deity, but there are a lot of land spirits, a lot of ancient spirits that also are very curious about us. So yesterday we go to our normal, like, Dollar General, like our normal routine, right? And while we were walking out of it, we heard a fire truck go by, and I think an ambulance. It was an ambulance. So we're like, and I mentioned something. I was like, what the fuck is going on? So as we're taking our route home, we fucking come up on this hill, and at the top of the hill, like further on down the road, you can see the ambulance, right? Well, I'm always in the passenger because I don't drive, and I'm the person who's always looking out the windows. And off to the side right here, I see a woman who's got her hair up, holding her little girl's hand, and she had, I'm assuming, a dog toy in her hand, like doing like this, like she was trying to wave somebody down. But the fire trucks are already parked like over here. And I thought she was like trying to tell us, like tell the passerbyers that, hey, there's fire trucks and shit down there. So I mentioned it to my partner. I was like, what the fuck was she waving at? And my partner goes, who? And I said, the woman with the little girl on the side of the damn road. He looked at me like I had lost my ever-loving fucking mind. Apparently there was nobody there. Nobody whatsoever was there. And I'm like, I'm freaking out because, yes, I've seen spirits before, multiple times. They're all in my house, but the problem is I don't really see them that much anymore. One of the last times I really saw a full spirit, I about fucking fell off my porch. I'm outside, as in the window that's right behind us, technically behind the camera, and over here through the curtain is the kitchen, right? So I'm out there hanging clothes, and I remove a fucking, I think it was a pair of pants. And as I remove it, there's this tall fucking man standing in the corner of the kitchen right next to the stove. When I tell you I about fell off the fucking porch that's raised, I about fell off the fucking porch. I about near had a heart attack. Because I wasn't expecting it. But yeah, apparently, and I don't know. That the problem is, nobody else that was on the road was looking over there like they saw her either. So like, the fire department and everything. Apparently, the only thing that I saw when we went by, it looked like a yard fire. I don't know what that was about. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this too. I'm not used to seeing spirits. And it's like the third time this has happened because I was like, oh, there's a hitchhiker back there. And my partner was like, where? There was nobody back there. So, in my option, the open more energy you have, the more spirits and other things will be drawn to you. Yes, 100%. I have been visited by spirits way more lately. I don't know what is going on. It's mostly my husband's family members just hanging around. See, I know yesterday and or the day before yesterday was what they call spring Halloween. It was another day that the veil is extremely thin. And then I believe in general, since the Panorama hit, and then now we have the conflict over there in the UK, more people are passing at a slightly higher rate. Yeah, Beltane. They had Beltane as well. And that's that was what I've talked about in other videos where it's another day that most ancient societies or some ancient witches, I hate saying that, pagans, they believed that the veil was extremely thin there. So it very well could be that. It also could be all the fucking crazy ass shit we got going on with the fucking solar system out there. We've got planets lining up. We've got fucking, we recently just had a fucking meteor shower. We're getting hit with solar storms. The retrogrades have just occurred. So there's all different types of shit happening that, not to mention the eclipse. We're gearing up to have another fucking eclipse. So it very well could be that. That was also what I was asking is like anybody else, like shit, like elevating. Like I've been told by multiple people that this year I'm going to be elevating with my spiritual abilities. That was not what I was thinking elevating being. Not used to seeing shit like that. Not that open either. Because like when it comes to seeing spirits and shit, I never like when I have to question my own reality. Don't like that much. And while we're talking about it, book review. And this book is Kate Fueller's Of Blood and Bones. By the way, I also have 2 other books that I'm about to be reading as well, which are Appalachian Folklore, Omens, Signs, and Superstitions. I'm excited about this. And then we also have Protection Spells of a Wicked Witch. Witchcraft for protection from negative energy, harmful spirits, and magical tricks. So that's these 2 books I'm definitely excited about. I also got to check that comment. During the full moon, the 15th. Yep, that's when the eclipse is. During the 15th and the 16th. I know it's going to be full. I do not know if it's going to be visible to us. I know the last one we had that's about to kick off the I think it's a 6-month cycle that eclipses happen, like within a 6-month time period. And that's what started it off. And now we're about to go into the major one. And then the eclipse that we also just had, I learned this. I did not know this. Everybody kept calling it the the black moon. And I was like, what? Every new moon is a dark moon. No, it was because there were 2 new moons in April. So the second one, I swear to God, I am fucking shifting into realities because some of this shit's just not making sense to me anymore. One thing, my tripod, this is going to sound crazy. Tripod that I'm using. Normally, it is on this side where the little thing's at, the little rotating ball thing is at. It was on this side. Woke up one day and now it's on this side and it's fucking with me. The black moon, I've never heard of a black moon, but apparently it's when 1 month has 2 new moons and the second new moon is a black moon. I thought that was called a blue moon. So there's just, it's fucking weird. But yeah, that's when we're having the eclipse. But this book right here, it's a good book. It is not for beginners. Holy shit, this book is not for beginners. And I will tell you why. In the second chapter, a brief description of taking on the goddess. Basically drawing down the goddess. The blue moon is the second full moon of a month. Okay. Thank you for that. See, that's what confused me. I was like, wait, what? But drawing down the goddess. Basically, the way that she describes it, it's kind of taking on the goddess, as in, like, you become the goddess. And when I saw the title, I was like, why is that a red flag? It's a red flag because what she's talking about is called drawing down the moon. It is literally where you take in the celestial being. If you do not know what you are doing, and or you are not at a point where your physical body can keep up with your metaphysical body, you are going to have issues, and it can be extremely dangerous. So, not for beginners. And unless you're experienced, I would not try doing that. Take it from personal experience. You can get physically hurt if you're not prepared and or ready. Other than that, it's a great book. And to me, it was a quick read, which is saying a lot because I'm not a quick reader. But it like gives a couple of information. It goes over like preserving bodies and curities and how to use animal parts in your practice. It does go over blood safety, which I fucking love. Mwah. More people need to do that. I'm also excited because it is not a book for 101. It's not like a beginner's 101. I like that. We're getting more books that are technically what I'd consider advanced. I like that. Other than that, it's a great read. I would definitely add it to your collection if you have it. There are some great informations. There are a bunch of fucking spells and stuff like that in here. There are things that I've never heard of before. And it goes over sacrifice, what modern day sacrifice means. It's got a lot of stuff in there, and it also helps you know if you've been cursed or hexed, or if you think you have. And like I learned things that I'd never thought of before and or knew. Just not for beginners. So, and then in the next 2 weeks, I'll be reading these. And more than likely, I'll probably try to make some videos on the Appalachian folklore. But I am excited about the Protections of the Wicked Witch. Definitely excited about that. And it's also going to be a quick read, too. I like books, but when they have, like, because I will not read a lot of the spells in the books until, like, I need something, and then I'll go back. But all the other sections I'll read through. So, quick, I like it. They explain, like, the reasons why and everything. There's not really that much political stuff, which I do not like. If you're going to write a book about witchcraft, keep your political shit out of it. I'm sorry. Politics and fucking rights and shit like that, not human rights, but like political rights, there's no need for those in a book about witchcraft because that doesn't make sense. So, yeah. Other than that, though, it's a great book to have. I'm definitely excited to see if they write any more. Because I would consider that's one of the first books that I've seen in a really long time that actually goes over blood magic, why you can use it, what you can use it for. Just be safe when using blood or any other bodily or liquids in your practice. Safety, people. Also with that, there was a mention in there, like if a trickster, or I mean, if a spirit you're working with or deity, you could use blood for like your devotion. I would not do that. Just saying no. For one, most deities are not going to ask for your blood. Why would they need it? For two, if a deity is asking you to harm yourself for devotion, you may need to rethink what you're doing and who you're interacting with. From my experience and from all the other pagans and witches that I've met before, most deities are not going to ask you to harm yourself to show your devotion. Even if you're becoming a devotee, they're not really going to do that. Secondly, why would a spirit need your blood? These are questions that you need to be asking before you just randomly throw shit out there. Please. But yeah, that's paranormal. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure out a safe way of explaining to people, like, how you can figure out what's there. Most people automatically go to saging, and I'm like, that doesn't always work. With that, if you sage your house or if you cleanse your house, you do not have to open your windows. I understand the theoretical concept of why people said you need to open your doors and windows, but you don't, as in spirits don't use doors and windows to get in your house. Why the fuck are they going to need it to get out of your house? Um, I mean, if you like it just for like a visual aspect, that's totally fine. When you do anything like that, make sure you get the crevices, the corners, the closets, the dark tight spaces. That's where negative energy, whether it's a spirit or whatever, likes to hang out. So make sure you get all of that in there. Oh, good morning, good morning. In my option, deity or anything you work with won't need your before they would want to need your blood. Exactly, exactly. And the way I understand the reason she said it, and it's kind of what you just said actually, it's blood is the purest form of inner. Our blood is a tangible liquid that is your blood. I mean, that is your energy, your life force, right? It's one of the reasons, like menstrual blood, for men, it would be seeds, or their seed. Um, yeah, but they're gonna ask for your like you said, they're gonna ask for your energy versus your blood. Now the older energies that you work with, I'm talking like Mesopotamian or Mayan or something, that's different because they do use, and at some points in times, blood sacrifice was in that magical practice. So that's different. But like if you're a Wiccan or even if you consider yourself pagan, just ask yourself. Don't want to throw you off, but I've missed the majority of your lives lately, and they aren't replays. Does your YouTube not do that? No, it does. In my YouTube lives, if at any point in time I mention something like I consider it exclusive, or like if I accidentally say a name or something like that, because I haven't got to the point where I can go back and edit them, I will keep some of them private. So that's what's been going on recently. I've been saying a couple of things or ideas and stuff like that in the moment, they came up and I did not want to publicly put that out there. So that's one of the reasons. If you haven't seen any of my lives, that's one of the reasons. I have been, like last week, I think I had 1 or 2 days that were just off for me. Um, and then, like I said recently, and I'm going to announce it as well once I officially get it set. I will be periodically changing my lives, the days that I go live, because it's exhausting. I love it, but it's exhausting going live on here for like an hour, almost 2 hours, and then 2.5 hours later, I go live on TikTok. Um, so that, yeah, it's exhausting, and yeah, but I'm working on a schedule that I'll be able to go live here, and I'll be posting it as well. Like other YouTubers do, where they have specific days they'll go live. I'll be doing the same thing. Hello. Feels better with you because the energy continues to circulate and grow unless you use it and immediately draw it from you. Exactly, exactly, exactly. Um, but yeah, spirits and stuff like that, they're not normally going to ask you for energy like that. Because, and the reason that is when you make, it's like I said earlier, when you make a candle for your ancestors or deities or whatever you're working with, you're putting in the energy then. You're setting the intention as in you're researching, you're physically moving your body to carve or paint or whatever you do to your candles to honor them. So that would be the only aspect of them asking really for that. Like I said, except for the older ones. Okay, that's understandable. I've been missing you lately, and I usually pop in an earbud and listen while doing house stuff. Okay, but yeah, that's been the reason. And then with this new schedule that I'm going to be doing, there are going to be days where I'll just be making YouTube videos, so you'll still be able to have content. And then the podcast is also going to be coming up. The last 2 episodes that I were going to do, shit on both sides, went other ways than it was expecting, so I've had to postpone them. But yeah, content will be made, but that's the reason why. Last week was rough for me, and the week before that was just weird. Um, but yeah, that's where this is going. Like, this one will stay up. Yeah. But with paranormal wise, yeah, just be smart. Also always listen to your gut. If you get a feeling like there is something negative there, you know your house, like I know my house. Um, So yeah, but if you hear scratching or thump or weird noises, don't automatically go to, oh my god, there's a demon or a ghost in here. My partner still has the problem if we hear it because there's a ghost around here. I'm assuming it's a ghost or something else that will randomly just, it'll happen for like a week or two and then it'll randomly die out. But we get random knocks. It's always three. Never in the same place, never at the same time, always randomly. But it's not a cat because it's a legit, like, it's a legit knock. And yes, I've told my partner, whatever you do in any circumstances, do not knock back and do not go try to open a door. Symbolically, as in you're inviting them in. Um, but other than that, always think, if you just moved into a new house, you got to get used to the house setting. If it's an old house, well, it's a fucking old house, and old houses have a personality of their own. Squirrels, wildlife, all things like that. Now, if you've already like went through that list of things that you know for a fact it's not, that's when you start questioning things. And like I said, it doesn't matter if it's an old house, a brand new house that was just built. A lot of people automatically think the only way something can be haunted is if a murder has happened or a tragedy has happened. That's not always the case. Um, I've met two people that they literally will go around inviting spirits in. Um, Now I do that, but I don't. For one, I don't summon them. I'm just kind of, if you need somewhere to chill out, chill out. But there are house rules, abide by them. But if for any reason we were to move off this property, I would not just keep it like that. I would also take them with me, or explain to them what's going on. It's very very funny because like the more that I'm talking about this, in my head, I'm like, oh, so ghosts are basically like cats and dogs. If you don't talk to them like they're a baby their entire life, they'll show you how intelligent they actually are. For instance, my indoor familiar Bubbers, I talk to him like I talk to y'all. I've cussed him out multiple times. My partner has walked in on me cussing him out. He knows exactly what the fuck I'm saying. Just like researchers found out that when you call a cat by its name and it just completely fucking ignores you, it's completely fucking ignoring you. If a cat takes a dump in its litter box and doesn't cover it up, 9 times out of 10, that's a nephew. You pissed it off somehow. Because cats in the wild have to cover up and learn from their big ancestors, the big cats, to cover up their feces and shit. That way they can't be tracked and cover up their smell. So initially, cats are going to do the same thing inside. They're going to cover up their piss and they're going to cover up their poop. If they don't do that, 9 times out of 10, that's a fuck you. And you will spoil them, but spirits are the exact same. Talk to them. Yes, basically the only thing you have to realize is you got to figure out a way of communication. Once you make that contact with the communication, the more you do it, the better off it is. But with that being said, if you start making community, or if you start making spirit contact in your house and then you start having nightmares or you can't sleep at night and then you wake up and you start having random bruises all over yourself, that's when you need to stop because you're messing with something you should not do. Regular house spirits, normally they're not going to leave bruises on you. They're not going to disrupt your sleep. Yeah, that's more malice. And remember, and hence how I said malice and not evil or demon. Um, there are things outside of the Bible that are real, but in my case or in my experience, they can be extremely, well, they're not popular, put it that way. Exorcisms. If we want to talk about the Christian aspect of an exorcism, did you ever notice that some of the people that get exorcised are some of the holiest of holy people? There's a reason behind that. Or so it says in the Bible. There's a reason behind that. I don't do that. Like, I'm still slowly helping my partner unlearn that if you hear 3 knocks, it is not a demon trying to mock the Holy Trinity. Fucking crazy. But yeah, not every demonic or not every malice thing out there is a fucking demon, okay? And secondly, from what I understand by demons, they're not going to come around and fuck with you. Now, are there malice spirits that will literally go around and fuck with people? Yes. Depending on where you're at, you call them haints. I actually saw a video the other day that apparently in Appalachia, in some parts of Appalachia, they don't actually mention the term haints because it attracts them, or the boo rag. I did that because I have another story that I'm going to make a video on, of one day how my partner scared the shit out of me. But yeah, but like if you go purposely to like a graveyard and you're trying to attract things, or even most importantly for my practitioners out there, if you go to a graveyard and you collect graveyard dirt, okay, or cemetery dirt, um, if you don't do the proper steps, you will get somebody following you home. And the last thing you want to do is piss off the guardian of the graveyard. Don't piss off the guardian of the graveyard. What is the guardian of the graveyard? Depending on where you're at, depending on your region, biolocation, that's important. And depending on what you believe or even where you're at in the world, most people believe the first body that was buried in the cemetery, it becomes the guardian, so it guards all the other spirits. Another interesting fact, because me and my partner had this conversation Friday, there's a reason that holly bushes and rose bushes are primarily planted at the entrance of all graveyards or cemeteries. Um, it's because they also stand for protection. So I feed birds. Is it possible to spell them to be protections of my house and others, just like a random thought? So not really spell them, but yes, there is. Once you start building that communication, ask them, because I'm an atheist, so I believe spirits and I mean animals of all different types, they're intelligent, they understand us. So just ask them that, be like, hey, if I feed you or if I keep providing food from you and, make sure you have like bath, a bird bath, basically the essentials that they need, and to make sure they'll be safe. Can you also return the favor and just protect my property? And if you have to, just like we talked about using an egregore, I wouldn't really use a servitor, but using an egregore, make little like a drawing of the birds or get a pictures of the birds and put energy into that to where if somebody fucks with you, they get attacked by birds. Now could you just imagine somebody trying to like astrally fuck with you and all of a sudden you hear like birds go fucking crazy and then in the astral realm they're literally being pecked by birds? It's funny, but yes, it would work. I've slowly been I'm not going to use the crows for that particular protection, but I do have a plan with the crows that I'm working with. And I finally got gifts. They're probably mad at me because it took them so long. So I went down there and I was like, you know what? I need to actually clear this spot out. So now it's just like this little sand spot. But as I was doing that, I pricked my finger on one of the sticks that were there. It's a thorn stick. It's literally like it has thorns on it, and I'm like, that's not from around here. So they have brought me multiple sticks, and then they've recently brought me moss. And the only reason I know that is because the type of moss that they brought me, we have nowhere on our property whatsoever. So that was interesting. How about cleaning water in their bird bath for their protection too? Yes, exactly that. And it's kind of like an equal exchange, which also brings me up to another witchy topic. I love people are going to click on this and think it's all going to be about paranormal. I love how these work. Thank y'all for this. Here recently, I was just asked, they're bringing you witchy supplies. Oh, I know. I'm excited. Now I need a black feather. I've been asking them, can you drop a feather or bring me a black feather? I've heard a bird at 9 at night and told my yard spirits, hey, do your thing and get rid of that. LOL. Oh, I love that. I love that. I've gained 3 bird friends. I have the flock of crows, which somehow yesterday that multiplied to 10. Normally there's about 5. Yesterday there were 10 out there. I have a blue jay. I have 2. It started out with 1, but I have 2 woodpeckers that will come out here and do the exact same thing the blue jay will, which is basically if they don't see food out there, and the woodpecker's the cutest because he'll fly up and he'll turn his head and he'll kind of cock it like this, like he's looking, and then he looks directly in here at me. And my partners witnessed this because they will sit out there and fucking raise Cain until I bring them food. And then there was the most crazy experience that I had was with the whippoorwill, and it scared the teetotal shit out of me so bad it's not even funny. So in southern Appalachia and southern folklore, there's a superstition that about certain things about a whippoorwill. Me and my father-in-law was outside watching the food on the grill, and fucking out of nowhere I see this giant black thing or this black thing fly out of the tree and land directly on one of my next door neighbor's fence posts. And it's sitting there. We're literally about 5, maybe 6, 7 feet from the actual where it's at, and the motherfucker sits there and sings us a song. And then flies up into a tree and then repeats the process minus the singing like 4 times until my partner came out and it flew away. Scared the shit out of me. I have so many blue jay, woodpeckers, hummingbirds, sparrows, mourning doves. We have mourning doves, sparrows, but I haven't seen any hummingbirds. I know last year we had a hummingbird nest in one of the branches that hangs over on our property. And then we also have fucking quail. Not in our yard, but on our driveway, and my partner still does not believe me, and I've seen one. It literally flew up into the trees, but I've studied, because there's shit ton of birds around here, so I've, like, looked over to make sure, like, basically to match the feet with the birds. And you'll see this trail of, like, 2, and then you'll see many little ones. And I looked it up, and we do. There are quails here in Florida. Also, interesting fact that I learned thanks to a homesteader that I follow. So remember how I'd been making remarks of the wasp, besides the one wasp that was bound and determined to get through the window? We normally have not had that many wasps on our properties. Apparently, it's paper wasp season, which is a 3-week time period in the first 3 weeks of spring, where they just go fucking crazy with trying to find nests. And let me tell you, we have about 10 nests on our property that I have to, I'm not, my partner is. I'm going to collect them and collect their nests, but my partner will be going around spraying them because I'm allergic. But yeah, there's an interesting fact I did not know, which was very fucking cool. Also, my partner is very close to actually start to practice. We recently just talked about where we were going to put his sacred space. So that was very cool. Kind of popped out of nowhere with that one. Well, technically it was kind of brought on by something, but anyways. Also with that, here recently there have been a lot of practitioners online being hexed. One of them that I know, I've actually got to reach back out to them. They have been doing egg cleansings, and every single time they do an egg cleansing, it's fucking horrible. Or an egg reading, shall I say. So just make sure your warts and shit like that are protected. Do a couple extra ones if you will. I'm excited because, well, I'm not getting into that, but, yeah. Make sure you're protected, and if not, I'm about to show you, the trick that I use. 9 times out of 10, it never fails me. I did it yesterday and found out, well, I got 2 aces. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a deck of tarot cards and or a deck of playing cards. And I think you're supposed to take out the jokers or out like the jokers or aces. I think you take them out. Anyways, what you're going to do is you're going to shuffle these cards as many times, about 10 minutes total, right? The more you shuffle them, the better the odds are and the more energy's into there. And you're going to ask them, has somebody hexed me? Has somebody hexed me or jinxed me, right? So I'm going to cut these, shuffle them. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make, you take the major arcana out. So it's just your minor arcanas. And you're going to make 3 piles of 10 cards. Pick an ace, or when you get an ace in each deck or each pile, you stop counting. So, does crow feathers on their heads appear blue in certain light? That actually may be a raven. Ravens and crows, I think one of the only differences is ravens have that blue sheen to them, and crows normally don't. I could be wrong on that one. But we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. Okay, so my 7th card was an ace. Okay, so we're going to do another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I stopped, and you also stop when you get to 10. So we're going to make another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Same fucking reading yesterday. So I've gotten 2 aces, which means somebody is talking shit about me and somebody is currently trying to work on me, but it's not really working. So that's how you do that. And then depending on what your answers are, or depending on what you get, you can do a return to sender, you can do a binding, you can do a ward, you can do a blocking. Honestly, I would do a blocking, a bind, and a ward. As in you're warding them away, you're blocking them, but you're also binding them. So you know how everybody's putting shit in jars? Put them in a jar. Don't put them in the freezer, put them in a jar. And what I mean by that is I'm not saying hex them. You don't necessarily have to put like people think when you use spicy shit and shit like that into a thing that like it automatically hexes them. Not necessarily. There are protective qualities with that to where you can basically protect yourself by kind of binding them. I literally just saw one on my feed and I'm so excited either way. Oh, that's awesome! Crow claws. Crow calls while ravens croak if I croak if I remember correctly. Okay, sweet. Thank you. And this goes out. This is Witch Bomb on Facebook and TikTok is who taught me this. So shout out to you. So yeah, that's how I normally do it. Also, if you do the egg cleansing, instead of just doing a return to cinder with that, you totally can. But something that I do, especially if you're feeding your crows, they're gonna love it because they love raw eggs or boiled eggs. They love eggs in general. Give it to the crows. Give it to the crows or the birds and ask them to take it away. I've done that, and then I also have a oak tree that I work with, where when I do a egg cleansing, no matter what it is, I knock 3 times to wake up the spirit of the tree. Basically explain what I'm doing, and then I bury it right at the roots of it. Cover it up with some dirt and just let the earth handle that. These are ways that you can incorporate using your elements and your land into your practice. A lot of people are like, well, what happens if I live in an apartment? Just like I've said with grounding, just like I've said with a ward, go out and get a couple of planters, right? Get some soil. Also try if you can. It doesn't have to be your property, but you could also do this with you want to do crossroads in your property. Make 3 or 4 things of that. Collect some crossroad dirt, put it in there. Bam, you got crossroads at your house. You can also just do that with dirt. Just make sure you do the proper steps of collecting that dirt respectfully. But for a binding one, get a black one or get spray paint and paint it black. And then you're going to get a paint marker or paint, and you're going to write sigils on it as no matter as in whatever you put in this container is sealed in this container. It cannot go outward. It cannot go anywhere else except for in this container. Therefore, do the same thing with the egg. Set it outside. Let it do its thing. And then you can also grow stuff. So take all that bad energy, put it into something good. The earth can redo that. And when the earth redoes that, what's going to wind up happening? Boom, it recycles that energy into life. So take the negative shit and turn it back into life. Boom, there you go. That's the first one I've seen, so I will keep my eye out to see if they stay in the area. Okay, and like I said, they love cat food. I feed them cat food. Primarily, I try to get them salted peanut or unsalted peanuts when they actually have it. Ironically, one time I did give it salt and they liked it, but I heard salt was bad for them. They love spaghetti noodles. It does not have to be in spaghetti sauce, just the noodles themselves. They fucking love them. They will play with them. It's the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen. But yeah, and then they come back regularly. Like they have certain points in the day where they'll come by and check. And if I hadn't laid anything out, they fucking basically they won't leave me alone. Or they'll let me know at least. They'll cuss me out. Cool thing is early in the morning time when I go to feed them, you can hear them caw across the lake, like they're realizing that I'm coming out there to feed them. So, but yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today. Like I said, I'm gonna be on TikTok around 2:30, 3 o'clock, like I normally am. This may change just because we're moving into that area now where I've been getting massively sunburned. Blue Jay. Okay. I'm getting massively sunburned because the fucking sun winds up reflecting directly on the lake and it shines up here. My ultimate goal, though, is to get those rainbow things that you can put all over your windows. I'm going to get those and have 1 to 2 windows that are covered in it. That way my kitchen is just straight up rainbows. Jars seem to hold up longer, and I feel like I'm in more control with the jar, especially if I'm doing a negative spell. I tend to spell hold until I open and release it. Okay, I love that too. I have 2 jars actually on my property now that are kind of like that. They're in the middle of my circle, which I'm actually going to be redoing hopefully today, or at least this week. There are multiple projects here in the house that I'm going to be redoing. But what I did though is I have a cinder block that I sit on when I'm in front of my altar. Amazon Cellular Windows Film. Okay, I will check them out actually. But I use the cinder blocks, the two pockets in the cinder blocks, to be that moment to where it's completely sealed. And the only reason I take that extra precaution, it's like the what I call the murder glass, or technically it would be domestic violence glass that was sent to me. I have it in a box, and then that box is also wrapped up, and it's just because my partner is extremely sensitive to negative energy. Whether that is somebody hexing or something like that. Oh my god, hi Lotus. I'm actually about to start working on a project right now. Oh, that is awesome, and hello. But yeah, so he's very sensitive to it. Luckily though, the last baneful working that I did, you can check that out on TikTok. I will be posting some of my TikToks on here. But it was weird because he's had a lot of negative reactions to them, which is also cool because if I can help hone that in, he'll basically always be able to know if somebody's trying to throw something at him, because he'd be able to sense that negative energy. So it's going to be very interesting to see this unfold. And then obviously I'm going to be giving y'all updates as well. So yeah, but Wednesday, I think it's Wednesday. Oh wait, I actually filled out my calendar correctly this time. This Thursday, I will probably be making content versus going live on here. And you'll understand why within the coming next week, sometime around next week. You could also get the tinted film you could put up on the windows. That's definitely something I'm going to be looking into too, because yeah, it definitely needs them. I wonder if warding a room would work to prevent it from affecting him. That's what I'm also going to do. I like personally though, I like doing negative things or baneful workings outside. Honestly, just because I honestly do not, I know there are some people that do. I honestly do not like handling that type of energy. So that, yeah, I primarily do it outside, but I'm going to be working on a necklace. Somebody sent us something that I'm going to be turning one of them to a necklace for him. I just got to get the actual necklace equipment and the right supplies. That's also going to work as one of those wardings. But yeah, no, because what I do, I'm very weird and particular when it comes to my practice. Like say I had a week where I had spells to do every single day. What I wind up doing is the negative ones I will do on one specific day outside, and then all the rest of the ones I'll do. But I don't like mixing those. It's very weird. Or like warding the baneful spell. It'll protect the spell from breaking and protecting him. I'm definitely going to try it. The last time I tried something like that, I also had to cleanse myself off because it kind of lingered a little bit. I have to go into a weird energetic place. Primarily, my shade comes out more when I work with that type of energy, and it tends to linger a little bit. Like the last time I did it, I had to fully cleanse myself and wait outside like 5 minutes just to make sure it fully went away, which it did, so that was good. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Other than that, I will be updating the schedule, and then I'll also be posting the honey jar spell on here. The honey jar on here. I recently got asked if I would do a tutorial on honey jars. I might in the near future, but I'm not right now. But I will be working on different videos, so just hold on, bear with me, I promise. But yeah, and as always, if you would like a reading or any type of custom spell work, all you got to do is message me or email me at firelotusthewitch@gmail.com. I'm also slowly working on a website. I found a place where it's going to be like $12 a year for a domain, and if I can get that, it'll actually be my full, yeah. A lot of things in progress. But yeah, until then, I love you all. I hope you're all having a magical day. Remember to ground and center yourself today. The energy's been weird. Actually, it's either been very, very weird or some of the best energy for people. So either or. Think before you react to certain situations. And yeah, and remember, If you also have just any witchy questions, or anything like that, you can also email me. I hope you have an awesome day too, at firelotusthewitch@gmail.com. Shoot me a message, just label what it is, custom spell work, reading, magical consultation, anything like that, just send it away. It's Neptune conjuncting the moon. Okay. But yeah, until then, y'all, I love y'all all. I hope y'all all have an amazing day. And until then, peace.